The letter wasn't supposed to find him. People like Cameron Hayes didn't get found by official documents anymore. Not when you lived in your car, not when your address changed every night between parking lots and rest stops. But that Tuesday morning, while Cameron nursed cold coffee outside the Portland diner where he worked weekends, a woman in a county jacket scanned the lot with determined eyes. "Cameron Hayes," she called out. Cameron froze. Beside him, Tyler gripped his sleeve tighter, the way he always did when strangers appeared. "Who's asking?" Cameron said, stepping in front of the boy. "County probate office." The woman said, "It's about your grandfather, Frank Hayes." The name hit like an echo from a lifetime ago. The man who'd sheltered him when his parents threw him out for being gay. The man Cameron hadn't called in 14 years. "He passed 2 winters ago," she said gently, extending an envelope. "You're listed as sole heir. There's property in the White Mountains." Cameron took the deed with numb fingers. The note read, "Occupant rights valid, structural concerns noted, no back taxes." Still, it was a roof, a door that locked, a place Tyler could sleep without fear. "We're going," Cameron said, though his voice cracked. They boarded the bus north. Tyler leaned against his shoulder as fields turned to forest. "What was he like?" Tyler asked quietly. Your grandpa Cameron hesitated. "Stubborn, kind in ways that didn't look like kindness." "What did you learn from him?" Tyler pressed. Cameron's throat tightened. "I didn't stay long enough to find out." The truth sat heavier. At 15, after his parents discovered he was gay and threw him out, Cameron had stumbled to his grandfather's home, broken and ashamed. Frank had opened the door and said simply, "The mountains don't judge. Son, you're safe here." Cameron lived with him for 2 years. Frank taught him to read maps, understand timber, see how buildings spoke to land. When Cameron turned 18 and left for college, he'd promised to visit, but shame built walls. The calls stopped. Now Frank was gone. The bus left them at a gravel turnout. Twilight folded across ridges. Cameron followed a road he'd last walked at 17. Through thinning trees, he saw it. The cabin, log walls weathered to silver, roof sagging. It looked like loneliness given structure. "Dad?" Tyler whispered. "It's really old." "It is," Cameron said, "but it's ours." The door swung inward with a sigh. Inside, dust hung in fading light. Tyler took in the rocking chair, the cast iron stove, the table still holding a coffee mug. "It's like a story," he said softly. Cameron found wood and started a fire. In the kitchen drawer, he found a note in his grandfather's handwriting. "If you're reading this, you found your way back. Good. The mountain's been waiting." Cameron pressed it to his chest, eyes burning. "Dad," Tyler called. "There's something outside." Through cracked glass, Cameron saw movement. A horse? Frank's horse? A chestnut gelding with a silver streak, moving toward the cabin. "That's Ranger," Cameron whispered. "He belonged to Grandpa." The horse pressed his muzzle against Cameron's palm. "Why's he here?" Tyler asked. "I don't know," Cameron said, "but he's been waiting." Ranger turned and walked toward the forest. "Dad," Tyler breathed. "I think he wants us to follow." Cameron hesitated, then nodded. "Grab your jacket." They followed Ranger into the trees. After several minutes, the horse stopped in a clearing. At its center stood a stone shed, door hanging crooked. Cameron pushed it open. Inside, his flashlight revealed wooden crates stacked high, each marked Granite Peak Resources. Frank had always claimed the mining company stole from their land. No one believed him. Cameron forced one crate open. Inside were metal cylinders, core samples stamped with coordinates. "These don't match their lease," Cameron said slowly. "These are under Grandpa's land." "What does that mean?" Tyler asked. "It means they drilled where they weren't supposed to," Cameron said. "They took something that wasn't theirs." He opened another crate. More samples. Dozens. All on Frank Hayes' property. His grandfather hadn't been paranoid. He'd been right. Behind them, Ranger snorted sharply. Something moved in the darkness. Not wind. Something heavier. Watching, Tyler grabbed his hand. "We need to go." Cameron said quietly. Now. A branch cracked. Too deliberate. Cameron didn't look back. They reached the cabin breathless. Cameron locked the door, pulled Tyler close. Are we safe? Tyler whispered. Cameron looked at the core sample he'd grabbed, at the forest pressing against windows. I don't know, he admitted, but we're not running, not this time. Frank had stood his ground for 30 years alone. Cameron pulled Tyler closer. His grandfather had left him more than a cabin, he'd left him a fight. And for the first time, Cameron wasn't going to walk away. The night settled heavy with secrets, but morning would come. And with it, the chance to finish what Frank had started. Sometimes the bravest thing is to stand still when everything tells us to run, especially when we're standing for someone who stood alone for far too long. If you believe some truths are worth fighting for, subscribe to Heart Stories, where every story honors the courage it takes to be heard. Cameron barely slept. Every creak felt like someone testing the floorboards. When morning broke cold and gray, he rose exhausted but certain. The core sample sat on the table like evidence waiting to testify. Tyler woke quietly. Are we going somewhere? Cameron nodded, wrapping the sample. We're going to find out what Grandpa knew. They walked down the mountain as frost melted. Lebanon emerged below, small and worn. Cameron felt exposed, carrying truth into daylight, but turning back wasn't an option. The Dartmouth Geology Department smelled of old rock and coffee. Dr. Sarah Chen looked up as Cameron entered, Tyler behind him. Her eyes sharpened when Cameron unwrapped the core sample. Haven't seen one of these in years, she said. My grandfather's property. Cameron said, he died 2 years ago. Left me evidence nobody wanted. Sarah examined the stone. This stamping indicates the drill site, she said, tracing coordinates. These numbers should fall within his property, not the company's lease. She met his eyes. My father lost land to a mining company. He fought 3 years and lost everything, including his health. So when I say I'll help you, I mean it. She examined the sample for an hour. Finally, she leaned back. This contains rare earth elements, extremely valuable, based on composition and coordinates. This was drilled beneath your grandfather's property without permission. That's theft and trespass. Probably why he couldn't get anyone to listen. He wasn't crazy. No, Sarah said firmly. He was right. They made sure no one believed him. Their next stop was a small office. Marcus Webb, attorney at law. The lawyer was a tall black man in his 40s with sharp eyes. Marcus listened without interrupting. When Cameron finished, Marcus sat back. Companies target isolated landowners. He said, people without family, people the community won't defend, people like your grandfather. And you, Marcus continued, voice gentle, I'm gay. I've spent 20 years watching the legal system ignore people it decides don't matter. Your grandfather was old, lived alone, made accusations that threatened jobs. They'll paint you both as unreliable, but I don't lose cases like this. Cameron felt tears sting. Someone was finally standing with him. Marcus outlined the approach. Contingency fee, expert testimony, subpoena records. We make them answer. That evening, Tyler seemed quieter. He pushed his soup away. Cameron knelt beside him. What's wrong? Tyler's eyes filled. You're going to give me back, aren't you? Like the others when things get hard? Cameron pulled him close. Listen, I am never giving you up. Never. Tyler sobbed. My other family said I was difficult. Cameron held him. You don't have problems. You have a dad who loves you. We're getting through this together. I'm scared. Me too, Cameron admitted. But we have each other. The next morning brought a visitor. Daniel Park, he said, Vermont Heritage Conservation. Assessing your cabin for grant funding. Cameron let him in. Daniel examined the logs with appreciation. Beautiful work. Traditional joinery. Your grandfather built this? Mostly, Cameron said. He was a forester. Daniel looked up, noticing the pride flag on Cameron's shelf. My ex was into architecture too, Daniel said casually. Cameron relaxed. They discussed structure for an hour, and for the first time in months, Cameron felt understood. Tyler whispered later, "I like him." "Me too," Cameron admitted. But peace didn't last. Marcus called that evening with urgent news. "I sent your grandfather's medicine for testing. Cameron, there's arsenic in those pills. Enough to kill slowly. Your grandfather didn't die naturally. He was poisoned." Cameron sank into a chair. They murdered him because he knew the truth. "We're adding wrongful death. This changes everything." Cameron looked at Tyler asleep. "Then we make them pay. For all of it. When we finish a fight someone else started. We proved their stand mattered and their voice deserved to be heard." Marcus filed the amended lawsuit on Monday. The complaint included mineral theft, illegal trespassing, and wrongful death. The demand $6 million in a criminal investigation. By Tuesday, the story reached regional news. By Wednesday, Granite Peak was in damage control. The black SUV appeared at the end of the mountain road. Windows tinted, engine idling. Sometimes it followed them, sometimes it just waited. Tyler started having nightmares, waking up crying about men coming to take him away. Marcus hired a private investigator. She tracked down Tom Rodriguez, a former Granite Peak employee. Tom agreed to meet at a diner, but looked ready to bolt. "I didn't know they'd go that far," Tom said, hands shaking. "They told me to keep tabs on Frank Hayes, report where he went, what he bought, paid me $500 a month. My daughter was sick. Who gave the orders? David Moss, head of security, but Moss retired, moved to Ontario." Cameron felt rage burn. "You helped kill my grandfather." Tom's face crumpled. "I swear I didn't know. I thought it was corporate espionage. Not murder, but I kept records, emails, payment receipts. I was scared they'd turn on me too." The threats escalated. Someone broke into the cabin, ransacking but taking nothing. Then came the late-night call, a distorted voice. "You're playing a dangerous game. Think about the boy." Cameron reported it to the sheriff, who took notes with obvious reluctance. The sheriff's brother worked for Granite Peak. Bill Thompson showed up drunk near midnight. Cameron got Tyler into the bedroom before stepping outside. Bill stumbled out, face red. "You're destroying everything. This town needs those jobs." Cameron descended slowly. "I understand you're scared. They're talking about closing the site because of your lawsuit," Bill shouted. Cameron held his ground. "They poisoned my grandfather. Drilled under his land illegally for 30 years. You think they care about this town? They'll leave when profit drops. You'll be left with contaminated water and no jobs." Bill's anger cracked. "What am I supposed to do? 3 kids, a mortgage, medical bills. If we win, I'll help," Cameron said gently. "Real jobs. But first, we stop them." Bill swayed, then stumbled to his truck. Thursday afternoon, a silver sedan arrived. "Richard Brennan," the man said, "Vice President, Granite Peak Resources." Cameron didn't take his hand. "May I come in?" Cameron let him inside. Brennan sat at the table. "Your grandfather built a good life here. Shame things got complicated." "You mean shame he discovered you were stealing?" Cameron said. Brennan sighed. "I'm offering $850,000. You drop the lawsuit, sign non-disclosure. We move forward." Cameron felt the weight of that number. More money than he'd imagined. But Tyler appeared in the doorway. "Dad, what's going on?" Cameron looked at his son, then Brennan. "That's a lot of money. Life-changing." Brennan said, "Think what it could do for your boy. Later." Tyler confronted him. "Why didn't you take it? We could have a real house." Cameron knelt down. "If I take that money, what am I teaching you?" Taylor's ear trembled. "That it's okay to be bought, that we stay quiet when people do wrong." Cameron pulled him close. "Your great-grandfather fought 30 years because truth mattered. If I give up, what does that say about his life, that he didn't matter?" "Exactly, Bo. And he did matter, just like you matter." "Okay," Tyler said. We keep fighting. The next morning, Cameron called Marcus. I turned down their offer. There was a pause, then warmth. Good. Tom Rodriguez agreed to testify. He brought internal emails showing they knew about the poisoning. We can win this. We're going to, Marcus corrected. Sometimes the hardest choice is refusing what we desperately need in favor of what desperately needs to be said. The trial began on a cold morning. The courtroom filled early. Reporters crowded back rows. Residents packed the gallery. Bill Thompson sat in the middle. Daniel Parks slipped into a seat near the back, nodding encouragement. Tyler sat with Marcus's partner, clutching a stuffed animal. Granite Peak's attorney painted Frank Hayes as an unstable recluse whose paranoid delusions poisoned his grandson's judgment. She suggested Cameron, desperate and homeless, saw a payday opportunity. Marcus stood for his opening. Frank Hayes wasn't paranoid. He said quietly, he was right. For 30 years, he tried to tell anyone who'd listen that Granite Peak was stealing from him. No one believed him because it was easier not to, because he was old, alone. He paused. Except they do steal, and we'll prove it. Dr. Sarah Chen took the stand first. She explained rare earth elements clearly. She showed core samples, coordinates. She displayed a model demonstrating how Granite Peak drilled beneath Frank Hayes' property, extracting millions they had no right to touch. The defense tried to shake her, but Sarah held firm. Tom Rodriguez testified next, visibly nervous. He read company emails detailing surveillance. Frank Hayes is becoming a problem. Authorized chemical solution. One read, the courtroom went silent. The CEO's response approved. Make it look natural. The defense claimed chemical solution meant mining. Marcus produced medical records showing Frank Hayes was healthy until 6 months before death, when he began arsenic poisoning symptoms. Cameron took the stand on the third day. He told the jury about being thrown out at 15, about his grandfather saying mountains don't judge, about 2 years of safety before shame drove him away, about 14 years of silence he could never take back. I wasn't there when he needed me, Cameron said, but I'm here now. The defense tried to make him look unreliable. You were homeless? Single father? Yes. Lost your job due to performance? No, Cameron said firmly. I lost my job because I'm gay and my employer didn't like it. They called it restructuring, like you're calling theft a misunderstanding. The defense suggested Cameron exploited his grandfather's memory. My grandfather died alone, poisoned, because he told truth. Cameron said, I don't want money. I want acknowledgement. On day 4, Richard Brennan appeared. During recess, he approached Marcus with a flash drive. Everything, Brennan said quietly. Internal communications about 12 other landowners. Moss's directives. Financial records. I have a granddaughter your son's age. I can't look at her anymore knowing what I've been part of. Marcus entered the evidence. Emails showing systematic targeting. Documents revealing Granite Peak extracted over $40 million from beneath Frank Hayes' property alone. That evening, Granite Peak offered settlement. $6.2 million for Cameron, $15 million for other victims, public acknowledgement, criminal cooperation. No non-disclosure. Cameron sat with Marcus, Sarah, and Tyler. Will they admit what they did to Grandpa publicly? Marcus nodded. Tyler looked at his father. I think great-grandpa would want truth known, and I think he'd want us okay. Then we accept, Cameron said. They signed the next morning. The judge read terms in court. Granite Peak's CEO issued public apology, acknowledging Frank Hayes had been right. They'd acted criminally, deeply regretted it. Outside, Cameron read a statement. Today it isn't about money. It's about a man who stood alone 30 years telling truth nobody wanted to hear. My grandfather deserves to be remembered not as paranoid, but as someone who refused silence. Bill Thompson waited at the crowd's edge. He approached, extended his hand. I'm sorry for not believing. Cameron shook it. Now we rebuild, together. When we stand for those who stood alone, we prove truth, no matter how long buried, always finds its way to light. 6 months passed like seasons learning to breathe. The cabin stood restored. Cameron hired local contractors, including Bill Thompson, Tyler's bedroom window looked over forest, morning light streaming through. The boy had changed. He smiled easier, laughed louder. Friends visited to see Ranger. Tyler called Cameron Dad without hesitation. The Frank Hayes Memorial Fund distributed grants to 25 young people, LGBTQ+ youth rejected by families, needing housing, education. Each scholarship included, "Your story matters. Someone believes in you." The Heritage Center broke ground in spring. Daniel Park designed it, timber and glass honoring tradition. He came to the cabin frequently, staying for dinners, helping Tyler, sitting with Cameron. Nothing rushed, just two people learning to trust. Jennifer visited monthly with her family. Tyler had cousins. Family again. They sat around Frank's table, sharing meals and stories. Jennifer told Tyler about their grandfather, how stubborn and kind he had been, how truth mattered to him. Bill Thompson managed environmental restoration, overseeing Granite Peak cleanup. Former miners found work in sustainable forestry. Marcus stopped by with news. 3 more companies caught. Because of Frank's case, prosecutors had new tools. Isolated landowners had new protections. Your grandfather started something bigger than any of us knew. Lebanon held a dedication, a bronze plaque in the town square. Frank Hayes, keeper of truth. He told truth when silence would have been easier. He stood alone so others wouldn't have to. The elementary school brought classes to read it. Tyler stood beside Cameron at the ceremony. "Is this what winning looks like?" Cameron looked at the plaque, at faces gathered, at Bill with family, at Marcus and partner, at Sarah with students, at Daniel smiling. Yeah, not perfect, not finished, but honest. That evening, they walked to Frank's grave. Wildflowers grew around the headstone. "We did it, Grandpa," Cameron said. "They heard you." Tyler placed a drawing against stone, a cabin, smoke rising, a man and boy on the porch, all smiling. Walking back through twilight, Tyler asked what Cameron had been waiting for. "Dad, what's the most important part?" Cameron thought about his grandfather's lonely fight, about years of dismissal, about truth waiting decades. He thought about Tyler, chosen family, Daniel, community learning to listen. "The most important part is your great-grandfather never stopped believing truth mattered," Cameron said, "even when it cost everything, even when he died before anyone would listen. He taught me some fights are worth having, even if you fight alone, but also something else." "What?" "That you don't have to stay alone. Eventually, if you keep standing for right, others will stand with you." They reached the cabin as stars emerged. Ranger waited. Daniel's truck was parked nearby. Lights spilled from windows. Tyler ran ahead. Cameron paused, breathing mountain air smelling of pine and snow and home. His grandfather stood here countless times, looking at these mountains, holding truths no one wanted to hear. But Frank had been wrong about one thing. He'd believed he was alone. He wasn't. He'd had a grandson who learned, who carried forward what he started, who made the lonely stand become shared victory. Cameron touched the porch railing Frank built. "Thank you," he whispered. The mountains held his words gently, the way they'd held Frank's, the way they'd hold Tyler's someday. Truth, once spoken, never dies. It just waits for the right person to carry it forward. Have you ever had to choose between what's easy and what's true? What would you fight for even if you had to fight alone? Share your thoughts below. If this story moved you, subscribe to Heart Stories, where every story honors the courage it takes to stand for what matters, no matter the cost.